Hello and welcome to the Old Man Orange Podcast. I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Dunigan. You had a real emphasis on like the old man. I was like, this is the man cast.
A lot of times I have an emphasis on the old. I thought I'd change it to man this time.
Yeah.
Maybe next time it'll be orange. I don't know.
We'll keep him in a loop, Yeah.
They have this poll for Injustice for like who's gonna be like some of the next characters like after Lobo that you can kind of vote on. Who knows if this really has any effect? It's like no. We make the decisions. You have
Like
no
Washington D.C.
Yeah,
with the tax thing on it, like internet taxing or whatever it was.
exactly. We let you vote just so you feel important.
It's like the Patriots out of Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, exactly. They want us to feel important, but pretty much I can't remember them all off the top of my head. I should have wrote this down. It's just one of those things you read. He was like, oh, awesome.
I'm betting Blue Beetle's one of them.
He is one of them, actually. Mm-hmm. The other ones is Power Girl.
Okay.
Swamp Thing.
Oh, Swamp Thing.
I think that's cool.
Fuck yes.
Tim Drake Robin.
Okay. That's cool.
I think Batgirl's one of them. It's like those ones are kind of cool. It's like, don't be wrong. I love all those characters. This one I think is actually the coolest one in my opinion. Zatanna's in there.
Zatanna's actually pretty awesome. For me, my favorite's probably in there is probably Swamp Thing. I mean, let me say this. I like Robin more.
No, I think Swamp Thing is just the ultimate kind of like, that's a sweet and lockable character.
That's just somebody you wouldn't expect. Like, forget 2 years ago. Like, just fucking 10 years ago, that's something you wouldn't expect. I'm gonna reverse that. 10 years ago, 2 years ago, you wouldn't expect Swamp Thing.
Yesterday you wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, so that's awesome right there.
And there was somebody else that...
Blue Beetle, they're trying to really push Blue Beetle in our face now. So
Blue Beetle, it's like
they made him look kind of cooler, and he looked kind of like he was in Young Justice now and all that. So they really are trying to like.
His Booster Gold's not one of them.
Well, Booster Gold and Blue Beetle are like a team, at least original Blue Beetle and Booster Gold. So who knows? They might work their way into that.
And then there's somebody else I'm drawing a blank on. That's probably somewhat important. That
Zatanna, Power Girl. It's like we already got Superman. Why don't we just go with Supergirl instead of Power Girl? That's my opinion, but
Yeah.
Or just make her a variant outfit or something like that, Kind of the same thing when it gets down to it, as far as I know. But, and then, I think Tim Drake Robin, that could work, because we're in an age where people don't hate Robin as much,
Well, I think that, but then when I thought, because at first I was like, that'd be kind of cool, but I'm like, you know what? You should just give Dick Grayson another costume where he has the Robin costume, and just have him fight the exact same style, just with the Robin costume on. Because
it was like 1940s costume with the green speedo.
I do think it'd be sweet though if you could have you could unlock all the classic costumes for every character,
like Burt Ward or something.
Yeah, pretty much. It'd be cool if you had like the Adam West one for Batman,
but have that deep, angry Kevin Conroy voice. Just Adam West Batman just beating the ever living piss out of Joker.
It'd be so sweet if you could wear them all during the cut scenes.
This is a dark future. Just Adam West out and shit. How fucked up would it be? The dark future Batman was in the Adam West outfit. I'm sorry, I just can't take you seriously.
It's like the only way I can stay positive is by dressing brightly.
The future is dark here.
God, I can't think of who the other character is. There's somebody else, maybe one or two other
Probably
characters.
Not that important.
But no, really, in my opinion, I thought the cooler ones, I think Zatanna would be cool, just the fact it's a woman character, and then she's just kind of different than everybody else.
Was it Metallo?
I don't think so. I don't think there's another Superman character.
Not Deadshot, I don't think, because you already got, Death. You already got Deathstroke.
Yeah, I don't think that. He's in the background.
Yeah. Parasite. I'm going on Superman villains right now.
Yeah, I cannot remember to say. It'll come to me later. Hey,
there's the phone.
Call. Go get that phone quickly. And 1.
Here goes
2,
the battery.
3. The battery down. Wait, no, take that back. 4, 5. Battery down. Okay. We stopped that evil force.
There's a meteorite heading straight for your house. Fuck it. No podcast.
Fuck it. It'll be on the podcast.
Here's their eulogy. They did themselves. Kind of douchey when you think about it, but whatever.
But I have no idea when those characters are supposed to come out yet.
I don't know.
Because mostly what I've learned about most downloadable content, they really actually kind of throw it out there. It's almost like movies nowadays. It's out there and it's not like it's going to last for a year. I'll be able to download stuff. A new character every month.
You got to get it within a certain time.
No, you can get it whenever you want. But I mean, it's just they're there. We're done with this game. Next game.
Yeah, it does sort of seem that way.
It's kind of like how Gears of War 3 was. Because I got the season pass. It's just I was like, after only about 2.5, 3 months, that's it. I guess you're on the next game now.
Yeah, it does seem that way. Well, who knows? I'm guessing this probably won't be the only round of characters they start putting into the game.
And they said 4. 4 was what they said. And they said Lobo, and then whoever the 3 are going to be based on boats or whatever Ed Boon decides.
Ed Boon decides?
Yeah, he's the main guy.
Oh, okay. Well, that's cool. I've been kind of out of touch. I've just been out of touch with video games in general.
Well, Ed Boon's, but he's the guy who's been there for day one Mortal Kombat.
Oh, all right. Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah.
He's the guy that pops in the corner. Toasties!
Yeah.
He goes down? Okay.
But, yeah, I think that was all I heard about that in the DLC. Hope they put some more levels and stuff in there, too. Just small things like that.
Mm-hmm. Were we talking a little bit ago, like, did we say on the podcast that, like, Clint Eastwood at one time, they approached him about playing, you said
Superman?
Being Superman. We already said Two-Face when it was just you and Cisco talking Jurassic Park, but Superman, did they, we talked about that on the podcast?
I think I did. I think that was in, like, Clint Facts, like... I'm gonna run out of Clint Facts, so I'm pretty much done with that book.
As soon as that book. Just have to start knocking at his door, asking him
Clint,
shit.
could you just give me a list of facts that I could just read off?
Oh, it's those old man orange boys again. I don't know why it's a southern draw. But.
Well, so for some reason, here's a Clint fact. This is why I wouldn't just go to his door knocking on it, because Clint said when he heard that Charleston Heston, when Michael Moore came up and knocked on his door and came in for Bowling for Columbine, he's like, if Michael Moore comes to my house, I'm gonna fucking kill him. I don't want anybody coming to my house and with a video game.
I believe he would.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, I love Michael Moore and all still, but sometimes you just don't want people to just show up at your house.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Even though to me, I always feel like Michael Moore comes across very friendly, like, hey man, what's going on?
I like Bowling for Columbine, but that was kind of like a sucker punch going in, like with a
to
camera
like Charleston
right there,
Heston, yeah.
who's already fucking senile as shit,
Yeah, I know. It's
But whatever.
Just let Charleston. He was in just like legendary movies. Just let it be.
I mean, I can understand.
If he wants to be head of the NRA, I mean, that's his whole deal.
I can understand going to places and saying kind of like, going to like Columbine, say they could have to pry this gun into my cold dead. I understand why you question it, but going on catch him on camera and going to I don't know. Just seems like a sucker punch move right there. But he wasn't as bad as that fucking douchebag who's running the NRA now.
Oh yeah,
that guy. He was fucking blaming everything but guns.
Because gun sales are going up like nobody's business right now.
Yeah, so
because for some reason this whole like gun thing, and it's kind of funny because I always keep getting those like letters from like Joe Biden. He's like, "Yo, we gotta stop these guns.
Yo, it's
you
Joe.
On board?
Yo, it's Joe.
Yo, it's Joe. What up?"
That's what the kids are saying this day, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Work that into my writing script. I gotta appeal to the youth.
That's his opening. Yo, it's Joe.
What up, Biden? Fucking rage. Without guns, of course.
Breaks a beer, crushes like a beer can on his head.
To me, it's just like, I don't know, I just feel like,
second term, bitches! Like devil horns. Sorry, go ahead.
What I just feel about guns is people are going to get if somebody wants a gun, just like anything else in life, they'll get it. Because here's the thing, if they can't buy it, they'll build it. That's just man in general, though.
Yeah. Well, I understand trying to moderate them. It's just one of those things. Like you just said, if they want enough, they'll get it. It's just one of those things, kind of like, I don't see why someone needs to have a fucking rocket launcher. You know what I mean? It's for in case if the British come down. That's what the amendment says. Not the First Amendment.
We get rocket launchers.
Yeah, I just
flamethrowers.
Some of the shit they want, I don't know. I just don't see the point of having it. Like in case the government comes in and takes your
miniguns, just like Jesse Ventura and Predator.
It's like, okay, I understand the point of wanting to have a gun for self-defense, but sometimes they
nunchucks, just in case the Asians invade.
Their only weakness, the only creation.
Is a white man with nunchucks. Wait, I say, I think that's our weakness.
Yeah. We'll whack ourselves out, generally. I had a pair of nunchucks. It happened before.
Yeah, that's a little bit thing about nunchucks. So it's like, really? That's considered like an illegal weapon? Like,
it depends on what state. In California, everything's fucking illegal.
I know.
I think it's kind of dumb when they say, like, yeah, it's illegal, but only because it looks more threatening. It's just, I have a friend who's a huge gun nut, and he collects guns like, this gun right here, it's the same as this gun right here. This one's legal, this one's not, because the scope looks more threatening or whatever. It's like, oh my fucking God.
Yeah, small things like that. To me, it's a gun's a gun. It doesn't really matter what the caliber. I mean, like, really, a more powerful gun compared to a least powerful gun, I mean, they're still a deadly weapon. That's the whole thing. I still understand the point of having, like, someone going out and buying a gun and using it and all that, but my thing is, it kind of pisses me off, is when you see fucking rednecks going like, let's see him try and take my guns. You'll see, like, memes on Facebook of like, Duck Dynasty. Like, there's someone posted a meme of, like, the Duck Dynasty guys. What the hell's a meme?
A meme? That's like when they take a picture of something and they put, like, a funny line or a quote over it or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So,
I guess I clearly just don't go on the internet enough to see that shit.
and all shit's right off the internet. But you'll see like a meme of like the Duck Dynasty guys all holding their guns out. It's just, you want to take away our guns? You're a very special kind of stupid. It's like, okay, no doubt whoever invades your house is gonna be pretty fucked, but if you're talking about the government, they got more of those than you do. I'm not trying to say, hey, boys, just roll on over. But at the same time, it's like, all right, be fucking seriously. They have a lot more than that. Just drop the whole fucking badass
pea
thing.
shooter's not going to go against the tank.
Well, they have like AK-47s and all that.
Your automatic pea shooter's not going to do too much against the tank.
We're talking about, so it's just...
I was just fun they got AK-47. It's like, okay, like, you're trying to be as American as possible, but
or whatever.
yeah.
But it was just one of those things. It was just kind of like, all right, if you want your guns, all right, fine. If you want to go up and fight, sure. But don't have this whole kind of like, I'm a badass. They ain't taking my guns. You know, just like be fucking realistic about it. But if they do,
go ahead. You finish your sentence. You look at you're just about done.
If they do put in this whole law about, we're gonna take away your guns, the one thing I think they should do is if they bought the gun legally, reimburse them. That's my one thing.
I think as long as you reimburse them or whatever, and it's supposed it's not like they're taking away like every gun.
Yeah,
they're only taking away like the things like don't get me wrong, an AK-47 is cool, but what practical purpose does an AK-47 have? Unless you're gonna like try to like revolutionize like a small continent or a country. I mean, not continent.
Well, my VCR ain't working. I just need something bigger than my foot to take it out on. That's all I'm saying. It ain't my favorite copy of Roadhouse, and I quite.
And when I pulled the tape out, it ripped the fucking tape, and I was pissed. So I decided to duct tape it back together. Well, that didn't work at all because it got all jammed up inside there. Have you ever taped a VHS back together?
No.
Literally, I did that. Like my Great Outdoors tape broke, like in like 1998.
I got down to the date.
So I took it. I was like, well, I think I can fix this. So I just took Scotch tape, and it really actually worked. There was one about like 5-second part just went white and then went back into the movie.
98, a good year.
Good year, Great Outdoors, good John Hughes movie.
That's a John Hughes flick?
Yeah, it's got John Candy and Dan Aykroyd in it.
Yeah, I knew that. I didn't know that was John Hughes. I don't know if
he directed it though. It might have been one of the ones
he produced or
wrote.
No,
he wrote.
Yeah.
Because John Hughes, in a sense, he's more known for a writer, I think, than he is almost like a director, because he's directed way less movies than he's written.
But he has the director status at the same time, which is pretty cool.
He does, but it's like, I always feel like he's one of those kind of guys, he likes writing more than he does anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think people come in there and like totally alter it, like if he just writes it as somebody else directs. Just go, you handle it. Mm-hmm. I have faith in you.
Yeah. Which, I guess we should probably segue into our main topic, which...
well, here's one thing about guns.
Oh, guns.
This is the one thing I just feel, though. Guns are cool. But they're not really that practical, in my opinion.
No.
Because the only reason to own a gun is to kill something. I mean, that's why it's invented.
Yeah.
I mean, if you have one on your wall like that, kind of like having a samurai sword or, katana, couple of them laid out, it's like cool. But generally, if you're really buying katanas, it goes the same thing with guns, and if you're really using it, what are you going to use it for? To kill.
Exactly.
It's either,
I know you're waiting for me to jump in there. I know this. Kill. Fuck, you beat me to it.
So that's how I kind of look at it. It's like, it's either to kill or to put on your wall. I don't know what else. I mean, like, really, like, shooting guns, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but it has no practical purpose unless you're there to kill.
Pretty much.
Whether it be an animal or person.
Yeah.
Or space alien.
Which, even though I eat meat, I am at that point where, like, I would not go hunting. I mean, I eat meat just as a necessity, you know what I mean?
There's kind of, like, no way around it.
Yeah, and, because you can't get enough protein just off fucking, like, peanuts, So,
yeah.
But...
Trying to make super peanuts.
Yeah, exactly. But there's, what was I going to say about that? But... regardless, I'm kind of at that point where, like, it's one of those things like you see some guy like, yeah, see that bear? I fucking killed it with this automatic rifle. It's like, all right, you tracked it down. I'll say that took skill. But really, when it gets down to it...
a lot of times, like, the way they hunt bears, too, is they have, like, 9 dogs to go and they chase a bear up a tree, and then they shoot the bear once in the tree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A bear wants to die with fucking honor.
Yeah, I know. It's like, to me, it's like one of those ones that you kill a bear that way, you're a fucking pussy. The only tool a man should need to kill is a knife. That's all a man needs. If you can't kill someone with a knife, then you're a fucking pussy if you use a gun.
Now, if you're just in straight up self-defense, you have a gun, oh fuck, a bear, it's coming for me. That's different. But
if you're yelling, it's coming for us.
Yeah, like South Park. Yeah. The rabbit. Oh look, a rabbit. It's coming right for us. Bald eagle. Coming right for us, man.
I saw a bald eagle the other day.
I saw one too. It's actually hanging on on a telephone pole outside my window.
Oh, nice. Yeah. You don't see them too often. You see them every once in a while.
It's a rare thing, you know?
I feel like, oh, America.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. When I see a bald eagle fly, it's like, America.
That sounds like you just came like, America.
It just came right on his bald head.
It's just like Jimmy Stewart. So like every time my teacher says every time a bald eagle flies by, someone comes. That's right, Susie. That's right.
You know how their head got all white? That's because a little American came on them every single
Okay. Someone's gonna make a Photoshop a picture of someone jerking off onto a bald eagle's head.
Jimmy Stewart. America.
You think American right there. Anyway, I guess segue into the main
Speaking
topic.
of futuristic America, Star Trek.
Yeah, we saw...
And 2, Into Darkness. Technically like Star Trek 12, Into Darkness.
Well, before we actually get into the movie, I just want to get this out of the fucking way.
There was 8 children in the theater that should have been the most threatening thing in the world.
They were quiet and respectful.
And honorable.
And they weren't like...
They deserved a lollipop at the end of the movie.
They weren't like 12 years old. These kids were like between the ages of 5 and 7, and they were quiet.
Oh, they're probably a little older than that.
They looked
Some
younger
of them
than
look like
me.
they're like 8 or 9 or 10.
Really? Well, there was at least 1 or 2 5-year-olds.
Or is there the ones on the right side?
Left side.
Oh, okay. Then I guess I was thinking of different ones.
Well, there was like a bunch of kids there. All these children were quiet. And I saw this train of children coming in like, oh, fuck,
me.
here we go. Then it's like, oh, they're all quiet. Who wasn't quiet, though?
The old fucks behind
The
us.
3 brain-dead fucks sitting behind us that would not shut the fuck up the whole movie. And I know the last couple podcasts we've talked about how shitty people are. We're going to try and keep it down to a minimum. The world just has to fucking change first.
Well, this is the way I feel, though. It's like, one of the main reasons why people don't like going to movie theaters anymore
These
is because
fucks.
of people like that. People like that, they ruin. That's why, the movie theater's going down, is because people hate seeing people talk during the movie. They're like, fuck, I paid $8 and somebody's got to talk during it.
And the stereotype is, oh, I'll go sit with the old people. They're nice and quiet. Not these ones. These ones, well, granted...
I've learned that a lot of times the old people are like, they're just as
worst.
dangerous as teenagers. Teenagers and old people are like some of the worst combos.
They really are kind of the same
Really what
thing
you
when
want,
it's
the
down to it.
best people generally is like those middle-aged, like, single men that, like, they all, they
Like how you single out men. Middle-aged single men.
I'm sorry, but that's one of the most common groups of people that go to the theaters is middle-aged single men. 40-year-old men that, like, God knows where this guy lives when he goes home. He's probably like the guy that goes to, like, grocery outlet and buys the sad man meal of, like, 10 boxes of off-brand macaroni and cheese and a couple, like, diet rights. And saves up just enough money to go see the new Star Trek, or,
That is too dead on.
But those people, they're damn respectable at the movie theater.
They are. Like a big liter of, like a big, 24-ounce thing of soda, too.
Of diet right.
Yeah. Is Diet Right like an off-brand, like Pepsi or something?
I don't know where you get it at. It's one of I think it's one of the stores, like, off-brand soda things.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, these fucking people, they would not shut the fuck up. It'd be like one of those things, like, I won't say this part because I don't want to spoil that part. We'll get to that eventually. But there's like a part where, say, the girl, the blonde girl that just comes into this movie, the daughter of, I'm trying to blank on her name, but the daughter of
the Admiral.
Of the Admiral, there's a part where she strips down to like just her underwear. And like, ooh, because she's alone in the room with Kirk.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh my fucking god, are you serious? And then there's another part. I mean, throughout the whole movie, it was this type of shit. Like there's a part where they get sucked out of space, out of the ship into space, and like, whoa,
Space!
Yeah, it's like we're in Star Trek. You don't fucking,
There's a part where, like, fucking Spock was kissing Uhura, and then, like,
oh,
yeah, I was like, oh.
Yeah,
Like,
you heard that shit too.
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck? And see, the thing is,
And when they
it's
weren't
funny
quiet-
how in a movie theater, though, like, literally each seat, like, over from a place, you hear less and less. So Cisco was on our left side, and he didn't hear any of this, really. I was in the middle, and I didn't get to hear, like, exact words, but I just heard more like,
And you saw me with my arms crossed, just like
and
hunched
you're
over,
one
just
seat
brooding.
over enough where you can actually hear the actual dialogue.
Yeah, and then just like, I heard the fucking, and at some point I turned around like, do you folks mind being quiet, please? And they turn and look at you, like me, like I'm the asshole. I didn't get up and say, crusty old fucks, shut the fuck up before I break your hip. I didn't get up and say that. I just politely turned like, do you folks mind please being quiet?
Yeah.
And they turn and look at me like I'm the asshole.
Well, sometimes I feel these people, like, they go to the movie theaters probably, like, twice a year. So they have, and they're, like, old and crusty, and they live at home. They almost have no respect for, like, the outside world anymore. Like, they don't even, they think of it like they're in their own living room.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of, that's really obnoxious.
One of them was doing the through the thing. Like, what the fuck is that?
Like, I've never heard that before. I think that was the first time.
Unless one of them was, like, there's, like, a guy and two women, and, like, the guy, unless one of the chicks was sucking his dick, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, it sounded like one of the guys, like, fell asleep for a bit. I don't know if he
was just breathing heavy.
Okay, he was just breathing heavy. I couldn't remember if he was sleeping or breathing heavy, one or the other.
And then, like, and he's also one of those guys, when he laughed, it was like a...
Yeah.
He literally was one of those people, none of that... People that clap for the fucking screen.
I hate when people clap.
If you're at this premiere, okay, clap.
Yeah. If fucking J.J. Abrams is standing down there, then you clap. But you don't clap at just a regular movie theater.
Like the projectionist, like, we did something right, Bill.
Yeah, I know. And nowadays, we don't even really have projectionists anymore. It's not like the same.
I have a friend that used to work there, and apparently they're up there and they just monitor.
There's more just the monitor and the press play now.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Press the space bar.
Yeah. But anyway, the movie itself, though, I just want to get that out of the way. Because I was just so fucking infuriated, just arms crossed the whole time, enjoying the movie, just like brooding, you know? But this flick was actually pretty... I'm not really a Star Trek fan. Mm-hmm. I've never been a Star Trek fan. Not that I dislike it or hate it or anything. I just never really got into it. I thought the last J.J. Abrams movie was pretty good. This one's not as good, but it's actually still a really good flick. And some people I know, because I know bare bones stuff of Star Trek, so I know there's some things that are going to piss hardcore Star Trek fan off. But you said something pretty good, which was... it was the reverse.
Yeah, it was almost kind of like... I guess I didn't realize it was like, oh, it's going to be kind of like a Wrath of Khan story. Just kind of like reverse Wrath of Khan. Just like things happen differently.
I never actually... I never really saw Wrath of Khan, but I know some of the big plot points and some of the big moments.
Yeah, see, because when I grew up, I just kind of like... I never watched really the Star Trek like as the TV show. I just watched all like the movies. Mm-hmm. You know, and I've pretty much seen every single Star Trek movie in theaters since like all the 90s ones pretty much and up.
And this was a pretty good one. I think they did a good job. Man, as someone who's not a Star Trek fan, it's kind of easy for me to say. I don't know how hardcore fans would think of this movie. But I know that some people are going to fucking flip because there's a part... Because what happens is they play it off. They showed the guy... I've never seen the show, but the guy that's in that show, Sherlock, he's playing this guy. His name, I think, for a while is John...
Oh, is he the one who plays Khan?
Yeah. Okay. But his name for a while is like John something. And then he says that that's a fake name, and his real name is Khan. Mm-hmm. At the moment when they said, my real name is Khan, people behind me all collectively gasp, like, oh my fucking
One passes out, falls forward, has a seizure for a second.
Stop the movie!
I'm having a heart attack!
No one gets up to do anything, he just does that through the whole movie. Oh! For like the remaining like hour and 10 minutes of the film. Just during the whole scenes.
One thing is, I thought the guy that played Khan did a good job, but one thing about Khan though is he has such an iconic look, and that was the other thing. Is like, where's that blonde mullet? Where the fuck is that? And where's like the guy? One thing about Khan, that always was kind of weird. Is he looks like he's got these like boobs, sort of. It's really weird because he's got like this shirt that goes down, so he's got total cleavage, and it looks like the way that he works out is he doesn't do any upper chest exercise. He just literally is doing like dips. And
then, so gut? Does he have a gut kind of?
No, he doesn't have gut. He just has like his lower chest is really like large, so it looks like he's just got these man tits, sort of, but like not like muscular man tits, not like a fat man's like a sumo wrestler's man tits. It's really weird. I don't know how else to explain it, but.
And didn't he have like, was he rocking kind of like a He-Man kind of outfit or something?
Yeah, he kind of walks around like that, like he's just kind of like primal.
I guess I could understand why. Maybe they should make some.
I still think he should have the mullet, even if it's a black mullet. I don't know.
Black mullet, yeah, because he looked way different.
That's what just made him look kind of like a warrior.
And that's the thing. People were all questioning, like, is this Khan? Is this Khan? People were wondering. I think it might be Khan. Then all like when they first, because I had no idea when he said my name's Khan. I'm like, oh, okay, that's kind of cool because I know of that character.
Uh-huh.
And they have the whole part near the end when they have, because I know the original. There's a part where Spock goes inside the radioactive chamber to stop the ship from blowing up. And then, you know, he and Kirk have some last words and Spock dies right there. Mm-hmm. Now, that was cool how they played sort of an homage to that and brought it back around.
Yeah, that's kind of like everything was like reverse like thing.
Where it was Kirk
was inside, and then Spock went to go fight Khan.
Yeah, and that whole scene, I kind of knew he was going to come back to life, even though he was dead, because there's this whole part where they take a tribble. Like, why are you playing with that tribble? Oh, it's fucking dead. I'm just going to, like, inject it with Khan's blood, see what happens. And I knew they were going to come back around to that. So I knew that as soon as Kirk died, I'm like, tribble. I know it. It's gonna be the tribble. And then sure enough, they're all sad and they're in the like medical room. The tribble starts moving. I'm like, yup, called it. You know.
No, yeah, that was definitely true.
I understand. I mean, I don't blame him. You can't in this movie like that. You can't expect like a multi-million-dollar movie for the main character to die off in the second one.
No, yeah, we do. It's like unless you're gonna do one of those ones like like the Search for Kirk, Star Trek 3.
They shoot his body into like a forming planet or something like that, and he starts aging real quickly or whatever.
Yeah, something like that, just to change it up. But we're just reverse Star Wars.
Is that the one where they're looking for the whale?
No, that's not.
That's the one after.
That's like. It's somewhere like 4 or 5 or 6.
Oh, okay.
And lots of those Star Trek movies, I still kind of want to go back and watch a lot of them again because like I haven't seen a lot of them. I only probably saw them once, and I haven't seen them in like 10 plus years. And
a lot of people say these new J.J. Abrams Star Trek flicks, they just kind of are jam-packed with action. And they have action in it. I mean, they're probably more action than your standard Star Trek stuff.
Well, because a lot of the old Star Trek movies, like they really don't, like, you cannot expect to go in there for... They're really just talkie pictures in space with a little bit of action.
Like submarine battleship kind of...
Yeah, they're very much like that. Mm-hmm. And even like Wrath of Khan, it really has like... it has very little action in that movie. Which
the action in this, that was pretty badass. When like Khan first comes in, he's like wearing like a scarf around his face. He's killing Klingons left and right. He has like.
Well, I did like the way he looked, like his outfit. You know, needs a mullet. Fuck. We demand a mullet here.
For a while, the one thing they're doing is they're advertising this as kind of like Dark Trek Rises is what they're
that's kind of how it looked.
But when you actually see the movie, it still feels like at least a J.J. Abrams Star Trek film.
Well, yeah, because at first I was like when I first saw him, I was like, oh, they got Khan in like the jail cell. I hope it's not one of those things like he wanted to be in that jail cell now.
Yeah,
that was just whole plan for me. I'm like, God, how many times are we going to see this in movies?
Yeah, it's a new
Dark
thing.
Knight,
Joker
Skyfall.
did it. Joker did it.
Then they did it in 007 Skyfall.
They did in Skyfall.
So I was like, oh, please hope they don't do it in this one too. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's a great plot thing, but
it's been
spread that out. Like,
use it more sparingly. They advertised like it was Dark Trek Rises, but it wasn't. It actually still felt kind of like at least I can't say Star Trek, a J.J. Abrams Star Trek film.
Mm-hmm. Well, the one thing I like about Star Trek though is it still does feel like it still feels like kind of like how Star Trek is. It doesn't feel like it's radically different. Mm-hmm. It just feels like it's just a little bit more action, a little bit more visual effects, and I don't think that's like a bad thing whatsoever.
I think it's kind of funny because like we live in this future where all are accepted. Aliens are among us, no big deal, and yet like all the main people in the ship, it's a little racist, are all human, and whenever there's an alien, it's like, hey, Four Eyes, blah 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 blah. What's our fucking trajectory? You know what I mean? Whatever they never go to them. The exception is Spock, who's basically human. He's basically a fucking human, really.
Fucking half human, anyways. Like Vulcan's not even that far off from being human. Then again, he's half.
He's half Vulcan, so that's why he's commanding. That's why he's second in command of this ship. Reason he's on first command. You aliens know your fucking place.
Yeah.
It is very kind of racist when you think about it. Because whenever they would talk to just an alien, the alien would just turn around going like, "Sir, we are falling into space." That's all they'd ever really do.
Yeah, they really just gotta put him in like the shit jobs. Like, you fucking mop up like the reactor room.
Yeah.
What if I get radiation poisoned? That's not my problem. You got the fucking hard-shelled body. It doesn't protect against that.
And after the radiation room, go clean up the piss in the space urinal.
I like to piss on the toilet paper.
Makes me feel empowered.
To watch somebody else clean my piss.
There's a deleted scene where Kirk is just watching someone clean up the bathroom. He just stands with his arms crossed, smiling.
Well, something about Star Trek always does. It does feel like a very white show, though, in a sense. Just like not just the white characters, but just the way it's presented. Just seems like a very this is the white man's future, where everything is pristine and perfect and scientific.
It does sort of seem that way to an extent. I mean, you got like a horror, and you got Zulu, and
yeah.
It is multicultural in that aspect, but it does seem kind of like, it does sort of, because when they crash into San Francisco, I'm like, oh, there's some space hipsters, or I guess future hipsters, since they're not
I do
space.
like the one thing I always like about Star Trek. I like how it's always in kind of San Francisco. That's kind of cool because you really don't see, especially nowadays, you don't see San Francisco a lot. When Star Trek started out, San Francisco was still used a lot in movies, but nowadays you almost never see San Francisco.
They're picking up where Dirty Harry left off. Bring back to Eastwood.
Dirty Harry is just the original Star Trek movies. Dirty Harry and the one. Fucking, not the Getaway, but the...
The Getaway? Is it a...
No, not the Getaway,
flick?
but...
Is it a Peck and Paw flick?
No, it's not Peck and Paw flick. It's... I'm drawing such a blank right now.
Well, there is...
You know the one. It takes place in San Francisco.
The one that takes place in San Francisco.
Same actor.
Clint Eastwood?
Not Clint Eastwood. Clint Eastwood's not
Steve
in the
McQueen?
Steve McQueen.
Bullet.
There we go. I was drawing a blank like nobody's business right now.
It's all good. Yeah. Now you know how it feels.
I hate that when you just draw blanks, you're just sitting there like, oh.
I think I draw so many fucking blanks in this show. I'm just like, I can count them, really. You have a little counter
Your
in the
brain
corner.
just gets like so wide for a second, you could fly like an Enterprise straight through it.
Bring it back around to Star Trek. But no, I thought it was actually pretty cool when they come in. They have the evil, dark-looking Enterprise.
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
That's cool. I always kind of like the whole parallel thing. I mean, I know it's kind of the easy bad guy to make because like. Well, same thing, only we just use darker colors, so you know it's bad. But the whole alternate kind of like just parallel evil thing, I always kind of like that. But I'll say this, though. The crew on that dude's ship, I couldn't really... The bad guys, because what happens is... just backtrack for a second. Pretty much what happens is Khan, who at the moment we don't know he's Khan, he does a terrorist attack in London, and then he's waging war against...
He pretty much uses that poor black guy. He's like, you want your daughter to live?
Yeah, there's
you gotta kill yourself and, 300,000 other people.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, okay, my daughter's totally worth that.
You can see he felt bad about it.
Oh, yeah. He didn't want to do it.
But and I liked how that whole scene was used. I mean, it's obvious, but I like how that whole scene's used without dialogue.
Yeah, that's always a good thing when you can kind of go with less
except when Khan says, "I can save your daughter." Except that you kind of need that bit, but anyway, so the overall bit is there's a terrorist attack in London. He's mainly just waging war, a one-man war against the Star Command. Star Command or Starfleet? Starfleet. Okay. Star Command is Toy Story. That's Buzz Lightyear.
Okay. Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Star Command, you read.
Buzz Lightyear in charge of the Enterprise.
The crossover.
Well, when Disney eventually does... One day Disney's going to buy everything. When Disney buys Star Trek and they have that crossover film.
Yeah.
Post-credit scene, Buzz Lightyear walks in the room. This looks like a job for... Yeah. No, but anyway... So what ends up happening is they end up saying, okay, well, like Kirk, he gets kicked off the Enterprise for a little mission at the beginning because they do a ballsy move. He's like, you saved these people, but they saw you and they're indigenous people.
The space spear chuckers.
That's kind of what they were.
They're just chucking, they're literally chucking spears.
Well, they're just kind of like stereotypical. They're stereotypical like,
natives that worship like something.
A scroll.
Yeah.
And then like they're just like painted all white and all that.
I don't think they're painted white. I think that's actually what their flesh was. I thought that's what it was too. But when they stopped and you could actually see them, it's like, oh, I think that's actually what their flesh is.
This way doesn't look racist.
They live in like a red forest.
Yeah. No, but
they wear yellow scarves.
Visually, that was a pretty cool scene.
Yeah, actually.
Well, it was a cool scene in general. But
the whole point is the Enterprise was trying to stop that volcano.
Because that volcano would destroy the planet, but they were just supposed to observe, and they
observe and report.
And they interacted. Jim loses his ship, and then the guy who was more or less the father figure to him in the first one comes in and says, "Listen, I can help you get your ship back. You got to be my first mate for a little while, though." And that's when the attack comes, and he gets re-enlisted as first command of Enterprise, and this guy, who's this commander, says, all right, yeah, go after this guy in Khan. He's over at the in Klingon zone, which they don't go to.
Oh, yeah, Klingons. It's like the main villain of, like...
Eventually, the Klingons, they become friends with some of the Klingons.
Well, yeah, just like in Next Generation, when the Klingon guys is on the ship and everything.
Yeah.
Well, I think at first it was one of those ones, like, back in the day, it's just like, these are the bad guys. And then they kind of started doing the thing like, well, no, it's just a race of people that just, believe different things. Like, that kind of, like... Because, back in the old days, bad guys were just bad guys. They didn't, like, have different beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
Never at the point where it's like, oh no, they just have different
They have
beliefs.
feelings, you know.
Yeah, feelings, you know.
Those Klingons have a little Zen
They enjoy
garden.
mowing their front lawn every morning, just like we do.
They have a little Zen garden, you know, with like human body parts as wind chimes, you know. But no, so anyway, they go after that, and through there they bump into Khan, and it becomes this whole chase of they find out there's more than one bad guy, and that this was partially staged through the commander, because he wants the main commander that sent Kirk into Klingon territory, because he wants he wants to go to war with the Klingons, and he thinks he's the only person capable. Now back to that. Let's get to the part. There's two bad guys, Khan and this commander. When they're on this commander's ship, at one point you see his men. Didn't his men look, and even he, the way they're dressed, didn't they look like they're a part of like an 80s new wave band? Their outfits, kind of?
Yeah.
Because they had like these tight, like blue,
blue.
like spandex shirts, but then at the top, they had what looked like kind of like suit shoulders and sleeves.
Yeah.
They had kind of like the collar out, so they really looked like they could be on a
popping that
keyboard. Yeah. Like they could be playing a keyboard with like thick sunglasses and like combed up hair or some shit, you know?
No, yeah.
Roxanne! You know, doing that shit.
The police.
That's actually one of the few new wave bands I kind of like, but no. Anyway.
I don't even know if they call them like them new wave.
New wave-ish. Think they can help push new wave?
I guess I don't know. I don't know. They feel more like they're pop. I guess you could say that new wave. I guess they don't have like that. There's just the thing is like something like those. A lot of those new wave bands are mostly all like one-hit wonder bands. It's like it's kind of hard to think of bands like how many CDs did you release? Oh, well, we released a couple CDs. Well, yeah, but how many songs were there? Well, there was a one.
The one that people liked, you know.
The one that still pays for my studio apartment nowadays
You
in downtown Detroit.
You could hear it like in a Swiffer commercial, maybe, or every once in a while Best Buy.
That's great when Best Buy gets it. It gives me an extra $50.
I mean, Circuit City had it. They did have it, but you know, who knows where it is now.
I could go out for a fancy Red Lobster dinner
once a month. But anyway,
if I go there though, that means that's 3 days worth of food I have to enjoy.
It's the saddest thing. We just made a little like indie IFC flick just now. No, but anyway, so the movie's pretty good, and I just couldn't get over those fucking outfits right there.
Yeah, the outfits were weird.
It's hard to take them seriously because there's that one bar. There's a guy that was just totally ripped and buff pointing a gun at Scotty when he was trying to like open the door so Khan and Kirk can come through. Because at one point they actually joined forces with Khan, and I was kind of like, I knew that they weren't going to stay friends, but I was kind of like, oh come on, let them fight. I want to see them fight, you know. But then actually, oh okay, they do fight at the end, so that's good.
We finally come around. I was actually kind of glad because I actually thought that Scotty, Simon Pegg, at first when they said like, it's like, oh, you know what? How about you just resign? He's like, well, I'll resign. And then I was like, oh, is that gonna be like is he only just in the beginning? Does he just have like kind of like a cameo like Jet Li and like Expendables 2?
Yeah.
I'm glad that like it all came back around.
And he's kind of like the third biggest. Well, aside from Khan, he's probably on the good guy side. He's the third biggest character of the movie when it all comes back around at the end.
Yeah, and I think that was kind of cool because at first I thought I was like, oh, he just kind of has this quick little cameo in the beginning.
I listened to like a review on IGN about this movie, and they said that like, oh yeah, aside from Kirk and Spock, everybody else is more or less just there, and
I feel like they all played a pretty well-rounded like role.
And I felt that too because
especially Spock. Hello.
It is more than anything like Kirk and Spock's film. But beyond that, though, I mean, everybody else though, there is like everybody in that flick has one or two things they do would ultimately save everybody else on the team, or at least or at least Kirk. You know what I mean? Because Bones has the moment where he figures out how to save Kirk through the I feel like
everybody's kind of got their moment.
Yeah, rather, you know, and not just like one. I mean, I think Chekhov maybe just had one moment, but generally though, everybody does have their
that fucking shit.
Yeah, everybody does have their moment in this movie, so that's good because you know I was kind of afraid it would just become this Kirk and Spock show. So,
but no, yeah.
Which it is primarily
IGN kind of always makes me angry. Like I kind of like don't really look at that website too often.
I'll look at them once in a while because they're good for news and all that. But.
Yeah, well, they are. I mean, like they do kind of like have the news because they're kind of like the biggest company. But sometimes it's kind of like one of those ones like they always feel kind of like dicks when it comes down to like rating stuff.
They do sometimes, yeah.
And I think I feel like that's just how it becomes. Like once you become big, you just like people bow down and listen to us for what we say.
The all-powerful IGN.
Who will challenge us? No one! No one!
Speaking of that, just because the way you're saying, just put that song in my head. I mean, I never really watched Star Trek, but I know when they fought Klingons every so often, they have the dun 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 dun. You know, I like how they brought that song back when they're actually getting the shootout with the Klingons.
Yeah.
So that was
That's one that was kind of cool is they kind of bring in some old music and infuse it with some newer stuff, kind of.
Another thing, those fucking people behind me. One of them started humming that song as soon as that part was playing. Like, you fucking. Ugh.
It's just people, and you know for a fact, it's people like they have no idea how to socially interact anymore.
Yeah.
Or if they ever did in the first place, God knows.
God damn it. No, but anyway, I still enjoyed this flick a lot. I thought it was
pretty cool. I enjoyed it quite well. Mm-hmm. It's one of the movies I'll have to give it that the second time through. That will give me like my real because sometimes I always feel that with a really inspecting movie, sometimes you need to watch it twice, and that will always tell you what you really think about it. And I feel like the second time watching through, probably like even enjoyed even more.
There's one little thing. I'm sure you noticed. I'm not sure if you remember, but I'm like, if anything's gonna piss Spencer off, it's gonna be that right there. When like Kirk's in bed and they have like with the two girls and they're playing Beastie Boys is playing in the background. We're bringing Beastie Boys back.
I know. I was just like, what's it's like. It feels like in the that part didn't feel nearly as bad. Like in the first one, I just always thought that Beastie Boys song. And it's like I really like the Beastie Boys, but it just does not fit in Star Trek plus 500 years into the future.
I think in anything that scene was for the girlfriend that got dragged along, or for the friend that got dragged along. It's like Star Trek.
What the fuck, man? Like fucking nerd shit, man.
I think that whole scene with the Corvette and Beastie Boys and the first one was there. Just like, see, it's not just for nerds, you know. I think that's what that whole thing was there.
Yeah, I think that's what it's kind of sell it off as, and I think that's what they just kind of used it just to bring it back around.
And there's originally a scene that went before that, which added some clarity to it, which was his uncle coming out. I mean, in the movie they changed it to like his stepfather or something, but his uncle coming out like, get over there and wash my fucking car so I can get back to raping you or whatever. He's an uncle.
I like boy.
He's an uncle out in Kansas. I'm just assuming. All right.
He's just in the rape.
So it's Kansas. Come on, So he gets out. So then the brothers are like. His brother's all like, I'm gonna run away. He's like, don't run away. No, stay here. It's like, oh, well, prove to me there's something still like in the Kirk family. It's here, or whatever. And the kid leaves. That's when they cut to Kirk stealing the car. And that's who the kid is that he yells at too as he drives by him. So I thought first it was just some kid like, fuck you, driving by.
Yeah.
But anyway,
fuck you, Jimmy.
Yeah. So they come back so they bring Beastie Boys. He's have like a two-way with like two alien chicks.
Yeah, which that seems like Kirkish.
That seems like a Kirk thing. Like they had tails or something.
Yeah, you gotta have fucking aliens.
That's all he wants is he wants to fuck aliens.
Yeah, he's that guy who's like, I really just want to go out and travel the universe fucking different aliens.
Eddie Murphy made a joke on, I think it was Delirious. He's all like, and I says, I'll fuck a lot of things, but I ain't that Kirk guy from Star Trek. That guy fucks green bitches. I ain't doing that. You gotta have a high tolerance to fuck a green bitch.
Just fucks anything.
But no, and then, what else about the flick? I thought there's one little thing that I thought was kind of weird, because we waited through the credits. I think they did this mainly just to be politically correct. In this movie, there's a lot of, it ends with the evil Enterprise crashing into San Francisco, destroying buildings left and right. So halfway through the credits, once you're done with the main things like J.J. Abrams and all the stars, it'll think our hearts go out, and this is in memory of all people lost in 9/11 and yada yada yada.
Which means like those ones I'm like, to me it's like, what? That's like fucking.
I think they did it just so they didn't seem insensitive by showing like a bunch of like buildings being exploded.
I don't think it had anything to do with that.
Well, why would they suddenly? Because there's like hella like terrorist attacks and explosions with ships crashing.
It really was like space terrorists.
Yeah, and they were crashing like ships into buildings left and right in this flick.
That is true.
I think it was just one of those things like they won't get angry at us.
It's one of those like it's been enough times.
It's Star Trek.
If that movie came out in 2002, yeah, well, whatever. But now it's like ones I just feel. Whenever I see those kind of things, it's like, yeah, no.
Sometimes people be way too fucking sensitive. There's like a Dreamcast airplane game that was coming out, but then it didn't come out because of 9/11. Because people are like, well, what if people like drive planes into this building? It's like, it's a fucking video game.
Yeah.
And secondly, it's not like, remember there are like airplane movies that were getting canceled around that time.
Yeah.
It's just like people saw a plane.
Any movie it's like collateral damage if Arnold Schwarzenegger had to be pushed back like 6 months. Like even I remember like Rambo that was the time he was gonna make that like the fourth Rambo movie first, and then like that had to be like delayed a bit.
At one point they're stopping. He was gonna go after Bin Laden.
Yeah, that was like a concept idea. Mm-hmm. So like there's all those kind of things like that again. It's like I hate whenever that like starts to affect stuff that pisses me off. I'm like, that's
I understand like pushing it back. Okay, let's wait a month or two. I can understand that, but it's more like one of those things like we just can't show this airplane movie, this airplane video game because people will think of planes and get sad. It's just like really, it took. You see a plane, that's the first thing that comes to mind now. Maybe
Yeah,
if
it's
you
one
were
of those ones like it's like if that's really gonna if 9/11's gonna ruin planes for you, you really have some emotional problems.
Now, if you actually had a loved one in there, then okay, I kind of understand that.
But the way I look, it's like okay, that's not the first time a plane has crashed and killed people. That's all I have to say. That happens a lot.
Well, it's just one of those things. Just seems.
I don't care. The only reason people say it's the safest way to travel is because there's just not that many planes out there.
It kind of is the case. They say, plane crashes happen a lot less than cars. Like, well, there are a lot less cars. There are a lot less planes than there are cars.
It's not like we all just walk outside and jump in our plane and drive to work and fly to work.
Well, not like we're John Travolta here, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Not trying to sound sensitive about that, but no. It just seemed kind of weird that now we got to stop and go like, oh, just so we know, we're not like. My mind didn't even go to that until I saw the little post-credit thing.
That's almost like it's like our heart goes out to all those the people that died in World War I in the trenches. And you're like, what? What? Like, it's just too long.
Civil War.
Yeah.
No, you still get some of that here and there.
Our heart goes out to the tea that was thrown into the ocean.
The ocean.
That poor tea. That was tea for a good whole 3 years. It was lost.
Yeah.
Those fishes got really, really cracked out from that tea. Just think about that. Like I was thinking about that. Like all that tea in the water. Like think how much caffeine's like going around. Those fishes are now like breathing and drinking in.
Just jumping up, doing like 20 backflips in the air and then going in the water. Killing off all their
is now just brewed.
Killing off all their like food supply within a week. Yeah. Anyway, did they have any trailers? I don't remember the trailers.
Well, they had trailers. A lot of them were kind of the same. Like, they had, like, the World War Z one, which is just the sad.
Well, that's sad because that's, like, probably out of all, like... That's probably one of my favorite, like, fiction books I've read. One of my favorite fiction books I've read. And I don't care to see that movie.
It's supposed to be under, like, nonfiction, but yeah.
Well, World War Z?
Uh-huh.
It's fiction.
It's fiction, but it's supposed to be felt like it's nonfiction.
Oh, it's supposed to feel like it's nonfiction, yeah. But... The thing about that, though, is it's a really intelligent book. It's a really well-written book. And I love that book a lot. And I do not care to see this movie at all, because this represents everything.
Well, it's funny, because it's like with the zombie survival guide, it's like, all those filmmakers should have read that, and that would explain how zombies work. Because clearly they're
throwing off the name.
Well, yeah, clearly it's just the name. Nobody clearly read the books. That's all I have to say.
I'll say there's like a thing or two, like, okay, they have the city with the wall around it or whatever. It looks like they're going into like into Israel, like, or it looks like they're going to locations or whatever. But beyond that, though, it doesn't really seem like they're taking anything from it. Because...
Well, the only thing Cisco did mention this. He's like, the only good thing about that, though, is Max Brooks will get some money from that. I'm like, that's true. Then he can use that money to write more books.
Max Brooks will get, well, I don't know the deal Max Brooks made with him, though. So, or if he even owns the book, it may be the publisher that owns the book. We don't know.
No, he probably is. Probably. Yeah, I can't imagine him not.
But, regardless, at least make a show you give a shit. And, like, Brad Pitt said it in an interview somewhere. It's like, I respect Brad Pitt. He's one of my favorite actors. But he said, like, well, we want to do something different. So we want to make the zombies more like ants or bees or something like that. Like, okay.
Don't call it World War Z.
Don't call it World War Z. Make something else.
Call it zombie ants or something. Whatever.
Ant zombies or bee zombies, whatever. I understand that, but this already has a franchise.
That's one thing that always just bothers me. It's like, if you're going to adapt something, if you want to do your own thing, don't fucking adapt something. It's either do your own thing, or if you're going to adapt it, do their thing.
It pretty much, World War Z had a pseudoscience to it, and there was also just all this detail, and all these stories were just really awesome. I just know, like...
The thing about, like, pretty much Max Brooks' zombies, it's like, that's as realistic as it can get. This movie is, like, as far away as realistic as it can get.
Well, I won't even just say fucking... It looks like they're just trying to do, like, 28 Days Later or whatever, and I think they're, like, they're on several levels, like... Because the movie's going to be PG-13. So you know what's going to happen when somebody gets killed by a zombie. They're just going to, like, jump on top of them, and they'll cut away, or if someone falls into a crowd of zombies, just a wave of zombies goes over them. That's all it is. And it's just like, come the fuck on. And whenever they show a zombie up close, which is very sporadic and fast, but from what I saw, the few zombies I did see in that, they don't even look like they're all bloodied up. They just look like people that are running fast and hissing.
It's just one of those, I mean...
When I see that trailer, though...
I think if it wasn't called World War Z, I think it'd be like, well, that looks kind of dumb, but, whatever.
Brad Pitt's in it.
That could be good, but I think since it's titled World War Z, I think that's really what kind of like...
And that's, I'll see it eventually, but I'm not going to pay money to see that flick, because...
No, it's not worth paying money to see.
Because it's doing the thing, just like, all right, we know people who like it will go see it just because of the name. And I'm not going to follow for that.
Yeah, that's the only thing, is you don't want to be that person who supports it for that reason. Because that's sad, because that's how those things make money, and that's how they keep going.
Yeah, so... Yep, but something I want to say. I don't want to see this movie at all, but they have the Despicable Me 2 trailer. Something I want to say about that. I just think it's kind of funny because in the trailer they're using the song, that Eminem song that Guess Who's Back Again, Shade is back, tell a friend. Yeah. Now what's going to happen is, that song's probably what, like 12, 15 years old by now?
Yeah, about old by now.
So
I remember when that song was brand new.
I'm not being one of those people on Fox who's complaining. I just think it's funny. I know what's going to happen. Kids are going to see this trailer because now we live in this digital age. Kids are going to see this trailer on YouTube. Mm-hmm. They're going to like that song. They're going to look that song up, and they're going to hear the whole song. Yeah. Because all they got is, Guess Who's Back Again, Shady's back. That's all they got. They don't got the whole song.
Yeah, that's definitely true.
One of the things it opens up with, I'm not an Eminem fan, but it opens up with 2 trailer park girls want to round me outside, and the video is him like getting out of bed out of two like white trash girls. At some point, they show like he says something to the lines about jerking off in the song. And so it's just one of those things. I'm just kind of curious. I know they're not gonna make a big deal of it. This is kind of one of those things. This is kind of like kids shit compared to other things this day and age. But I just think it's kind of funny right now. I know there's gonna be some kids looking up this song. Like, parents will be like, "How the fuck did you find this?" It's like
Despicable Me.
Yeah, exactly.
They're like, well, you're not gonna be watching that Despicable Me anymore.
No.
I thought that Despicable Me seemed like it kind of. I mean, it felt like a weird place to put that trailer, like with Star Trek. I mean, I know Star Trek kind of like attracts like all ages, but
I think they're just gonna post whatever. I think if you're seeing a PG-13, you're generally gonna get like mostly PG-13 trailers. Every once in a while, you might get an R once in a while. I remember seeing Spider-Man 3. Not Spider-Man 3. Is it Spider-Man 3? Spider-Man 2 and seeing a Blade 3 trailer.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, but that makes kind of sense though, because it's both Marvel.
Yeah. So you can still get those.
Even, sometimes like those movies like kind of like Blade 3, it feels like it's a rated R movie, but you're still gonna get like a lot of like younger audiences coming in.
I remember going to see like Galaxy Quest in theaters and seeing a trailer for that Johnny Depp movie, like The Ninth Circle or Ninth Gate or whatever. The Hell movie. The Hell movie. Yeah.
It's funny what they'll show sometimes.
Yeah. So
the other trailer they will show Man of Steel, which always looks amazing.
I remember the one we forgot about.
What was one?
Anchorman 2.
Oh, well, yeah, because that one's such a quick trailer.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because like, I saw that before, and then it's like, I kind of forgot that they showed us that trailer like 6 months ago.
Yeah. Well, I think they're still filming it, because they didn't have any real footage for it.
Yeah, it just has like them walking out.
Mm-hmm. Which, I'll see that. I love Anchorman 1.
Yeah, I enjoyed Anchorman 1. I haven't seen it like in 10 years, but I think generally Will Ferrell, even if it's kind of a crappy movie, he's still always pretty funny.
I think Anchorman 1 is like one of the last really, really, really funny PG-13 comedies.
Is that movie only PG-13?
Yeah.
I thought it was rated R.
Well, I have the unrated edition.
Okay, so a lot of times that always throws me off, because like you get the unrated version, and then you just kind of like, oh, that movie was actually PG-13.
It's just like 1 or 2 extra fucks or whatever, so. And like a deleted scene. That's all they really ever are. Just like 1 or 2 extra fucks and a deleted scene just jammed in there.
Yeah.
I didn't see the trailer for it today when we went to go see the movie, but I saw a full Riddick trailer today.
Oh, the Chronicles of Riddick?
It's just called Riddick, this one.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like, because I never saw Pitch Black, which I want to borrow from you.
Yeah, you gotta see that one at some point. One of the best Vin Diesel movies.
It's either a prequel, because they're not even, it didn't even look like they were referencing the like death space people from the second one. Uh-huh. It looks very simple. He's on a planet, and these like a group of bounty hunters are hunting him down. It shows him like kind of almost being Predator. Like these people are tracking him down. He's picking them off one by one.
Oh, that's badass.
And it looks like they're come back around to the horror element because the sun goes down, and then all of a sudden you see these creatures walking up. So it looks like they're going back to Pitch Black, and then you see these creatures like he's joining them, fighting off these creatures from Pitch Black.
Oh, that's pretty cool then.
They look like the creatures from Pitch Black. I've never seen the movie, but that's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's one of those movies you gotta see at some point. Yeah,
so
that's definitely one of the.
Because I always thought the Riddick universe was a pretty cool universe.
I thought that, yeah.
Chronicles of Riddick was just kind of like it was all right. I mean, visually, I think it's a great movie. The action's cool, but it's just an all right.
Well, that's kind of felt. It's like Pitch Black is like really good, and then Chronicles of Riddick is like it's good. Yeah. Not nearly as good, but still a cool enough universe that like I'd like to see more.
It's visually interesting. It's like one of those things. This could have been better, but I'd still like to see more of it just to see what happens. It's like one of those classic cases. This shouldn't have been PG-13.
Yeah,
and even the unrated version, you still can't really tell.
Yeah. Because sometimes those unrated versions, you think it's gonna make a difference. Like, no, it's just like 2 80-yard fucks in there at some point, and maybe a little bit more blood. And
it usually is. They just 80-yard, and it's always like a cutaway, like they're off screen or something like that,
or their heads turned or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think I first noticed that in Die Hard 4.
Yeah, Die Hard 4 was the first time. I'm like, oh.
They CG'd some blood in there, you said?
Yeah, but they put some CG blood in there and stuff. It's just like one of those ones like, why don't you just put that in the beginning? And
Yeah. In Die Hard 4, even PG-13, it's still better than Die Hard 3. Die Hard 5.
5.
Die Hard 3 is one of the best
not
movies.
Die Hard 3. Die Hard 3 is
That's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that movie is amazing.
Yeah.
But Die Hard, yeah, Die Hard 5. Mm-hmm. So that was PG-13 too, right?
Die Hard 5?
Yeah.
Die Hard 5 was rated R, but...
Yeah, but it felt more PG-13 than...
It did. Well, there's still some fucks, but the violence wasn't too much. And the most violent part is where you got the guy, the Hans Gruber kind of homage, where he chucks the dude into the propeller.
Oh, yeah. There's that part.
Which that was cut. It was whatever. It was a quick cut. I don't really fucking care. By that point in the movie, I was already kind of lost. All right, that's cool. Like, that's cool. They're in
Russia.
Chernobyl.
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 That was the best part.
That was cool. That was a cool concept. But it was just kind of like whatever. By that point,
I know, Die Hard.
I even kind of lied to myself. It wasn't until no, it was actually better than I thought it would be. We're going like 10 or 15 podcasts ago. But then I sat down with you, like, we started the podcast. Actually, I didn't think it was that good. It's just like, actually, he's fucking right. I'm just lying to myself here.
Well, this is going back once again. I think it was also, too, because it was just like, okay, Last Stand was really cool. And then the Stallone one,
which at
Bullet
first,
to the Head was really cool.
At first thought...
So you're just like, well, fuck, Bruce Willis movie's gotta be badass, right?
Well, when I first thought about The Last Stand, at first, I guess I was expecting a different movie, and I was kind of holding that against it for a while. But the more I thought about it, like, actually, that was a pretty good flick.
Well, sometimes that's kind of like it takes, too. It's like, because sometimes when you go to watch a movie, you think... You have this other idea of what this movie's gonna be, and then when it's not that movie, you're kind of like, well, it was okay. But then once you kind of know what the story is, and you come back and watch it again, you're like, oh, no, that was actually really good.
When I walked out of it, I was like, I enjoyed it, but it just wasn't as good as I thought it would be. And then when I thought about the movie more, I mean, it was still pretty... Actually, it came back around. That actually was a pretty decent action flick, which... Die Hard 5, even though it had action the whole way through it, it's still just, there was something about it that was just kind of like the chemistry between them wasn't there.
Yeah.
You didn't really care about Sam, what was his name?
Bruce Willis'
Sam
son.
Sam McClane or whatever. Or
yeah.
Jack McClane was his name.
Yeah.
So you didn't really care about him. You didn't really, just kind of whatever. I mean, I think it's cool they put someone in there that could keep up with him, but beyond that, though.
It's just kind of like, oh, and then like, so when they kind of throw CG into like action movies, you're like, oh, that's...
Where the CG in Star Trek looked really good.
Well, that's different because it's sci-fi, but
Yeah.
like I'm talking about like straight up action movies. Like that's like the last place you want to see CG. You're like, if you don't have real stunts, then don't do it.
Yeah, I just want to bring it back around to Star Trek. Like, oh, okay.
Star Trek's always good.
Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like Star Trek, but not really at all. But as the fourth issue of like, fourth or is it fifth? No, yeah, the fourth issue of like the Sonic Mega Man crossover came out.
Oh, really?
Uh huh.
How's that?
That's really cool. I guess finally now Mega Man and Sonic are on. Like they're like, oh fuck, we thought each other was bad guys, but now we realize that we were fighting the same horrible, evil, mad scientist guys. So let's join up now.
Oh, it took them that long, really? I thought they would have joined up by second issue.
No, it took because the first issue was just kind of like let's get these guys together. The second one was like they fought like in Sonic's world. Then like the third issue they like went over to Mega Man's world, fought, and then by the fourth issue like, oh okay, let's team up now and fight this evil.
So are they just clashing through different levels and areas of their worlds? Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty badass like that. So far, it's pretty cool. And one thing I do like is, like, okay, unlike other comics, I like how, like, since they take their 3 comics, so each month you get 3 issues per month. Mm-hmm. Which is pretty badass. I like that, because instead of having to wait, like, okay, I get 1 issue per month, and you kind of forget by the time, I mean, you could always go back and read it, but you kind of, time that next issue comes out, you're like, what the fuck happened again?
Yeah, I get what you mean. I actually started reading another comic. I actually finished it. Were you done on Sonic and Mega Man, or do you got more on that?
We could be at the end of there.
Okay. I actually, picked up. Because I'm not really a huge vampire fan. Not that I dislike vampires. I'm just not a huge fan of them. But I like Scott Snyder, the current writer for Batman, a lot. So I picked up his book, American Vampire, and that's a really awesome book. It's probably one of the best vampire stories I've read in a while.
Nice.
It's kind of it's 2 stories going on at the same time. Stuff from one story carries on to the other. What happens is it's opens up in the 1920s. It's about a girl in Hollywood trying to make it, and she more or less gets kind of like beaten down and kind of like sacrificed to all these other vampires. Generally, they say to her, "Oh yeah, just go to this group of all these wealthy old rich guys, and they'll make you a movie star, whatever." Mm-hmm. They end up just like more or less just like fucking draining her of all her blood, and chucking her naked dead body into a ditch of all these other girls they promised this to. Mm-hmm. And she actually barely survives. And there's this guy that was in there earlier. The girl's name, her name is Pearl, and the guy's name, this one character who comes in, he had a brief word with her, like, I wouldn't go to that party if I were you. It's a bad decision. You know, she's like, oh, whatever. You're just some, like, stalker. This kind of cowboy guy named Skinner Sweet. He comes in, turns out that guy's a vampire. He bites his lip and gives her some of his blood, which turns her into a vampire. Now, they say they're a new breed of vampire, so they can go into sunlight. And if they get ravenous, they can actually get the kind of like that monster vampire. Long nails, their jaw drops lower with sharp teeth out and all that kind of stuff. So so that's what the girl has, and then Skinner just kind of up and goes away. And we find out that like we come back to him later because it's jumping back and forth. It's kind of like 2 stories each issue.
Mm-hmm. And is that one solid book, or is that like multiple books?
There's multiple books. Okay. This is the one book that I have. And then, so she's going after revenge on all the rich, evil vampires that did this to her. And then there's his story, which is a Western story, which is about where he's the villain, and a group of pretty much he attacked, pretty much of course all the European vampires. All vampires in America are actually originally European.
Well, that makes sense.
And he's the first American vampire because during like I believe it was a train raid. One of them bit him. And they'll show your like original vampires in sunlight, but they usually have suntan lotion or umbrellas or whatever. So that's the one way they can go in it. But they bite him, and then it's mainly focusing on this old lawman and his young partner, who's this young Mexican guy whose father was just appointed mayor and of this small town. So what ends up happening is it's kind of focusing on their story. They put him away. And he gets bit, and he gets buried, and he's like in a coffin. This town eventually floods, so he's underground, which is underwater, which is above a town, which is now underwater because of this dam broke. And he becomes this because of no food and lack of sunlight, all that stuff. He pretty much becomes this new breed of vampire, just evolution over like these 20 years. And he breaks out and pretty much swears revenge.
That's pretty badass.
And I won't go into the whole thing, but it's a pretty good comic.
Huh, that does sound pretty sweet. Scott Snyder's really good.
He's a great writer, yeah.
Well, the thing about vampires, too, is like, I think the stories can be good. I know, like, once things kind of get overblown, you kind of go like, fuck vampires.
Yeah, it does feel that way sometimes. This is one of those stories, and I wasn't like, vampires, fuck that. I'm like, oh, whatever, I'll check it out. It's Scott Snyder, and he's doing a great job with Batman right now. So let's see.
That's how I felt. It's like vampires and zombies are something that, like, when I was younger, I used to really enjoy, and then now since those two have been kind of like
getting more selective,
like ran over and then back up and ran over again. Like, yeah, now it's like I'm not very interested in things unless it's something like if it's vampires, like I'll go to Castlevania. I always have faith in that. If it's zombies, I'll go to Resident Evil. I always have faith in that. But other than that, though, it's like sometimes I'm kind of like lyrious about all those things.
This is a good book. I'm going to let you borrow it. I think you'll enjoy it.
Nice.
So it's those 2 stories going back and forth, and things link up, of course. So yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Got like that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's a good place to leave it off at.
Alrighty. Send us some emails.
Yes, and come by and check out oldmanorange.com, the center place for everything Old Man Orange. Till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes.
I'm Ryan Dunigan.
And we will see you some other time.
Goodbye.